I call the shots, I never call it quits. Trust my intuition, bet it's right and bitch, it often is. Seen too many others come and go, they had the wrong intent. Do it out of love and never for it, then I watch it get bigger than expected. Don't second guess it, I let it set it. It's God's plan, we out here only accepting blessings. I'm stuck with it, this mindset is terminal. In and out different terminals, leveling up is personal. And I already made it, y'all can miss me. It's hard to believe I made something from nothing. No hindsight discussions, I've been writing, I love it.
Welcome to the 3 Gig Sports Podcast, where we are never wrong, just sometimes misinformed. This is Danny G, sitting alongside Rio and Jimmy tonight, and it's hot as fuck. It is extremely humid out there too tonight, boys.
Yeah, that rain did not help this morning, and as soon as it happened, I was like, man, football camp is going to be tough this afternoon.
Yeah, my son looks like death, so
yeah.
I'm like, hey, appreciate you.
Yeah.
I think we were talking earlier, watching a little bit of TV. I was like, you know what? Thank God we are old, because otherwise we'd be in high school and we'd be doing some shit like some stupid shit like that right now.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't miss.
No,
that's for damn sure.
Not at all.
Well, let's kick this bad boy off over there, Jimmy. What do we got going on? There's some pretty big stories out there.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I was looking at something that could be a debate. So Vin Scully, iconic former Dodgers broadcaster, dies at the age of 94.
Yep. Rest in peace, man. It was, probably one of the better broadcasters, especially for MLB. And, rest in peace.
Yeah, man, the voice.
Just retired, it feels like, right? That was a few years ago, maybe it's 5 years ago or so, right? Yeah. Rest in peace, iconic calls. Sticks with it, especially what was that, the dinger. Wow, the World Series one. Can't remember the dude's name that parked it, but I just remember like hearing his voice. So big time.
Yeah.
Big trade at the MLB trade deadline. Padres have acquired superstar outfielders Juan Soto and first baseman Josh Bell from the Nationals for a boatload of prospects.
Yeah, Rio, I'm curious to hear where you land on how do you think this trade went?
Nationals got a haul. They did. They were trying to acquire Will Myers in this deal, but Will Myers has a no trade clause.
Wrong person. Eric Hosmer.
Eric Hosmer, sorry. Will Myers is still there. Yeah, Eric Hosmer has the no trade deal. So it'd be nice if Washington could have got that piece back, because they did ship a first baseman over as well, which he ended up moving to Boston anyways. So they did ship him out, but man, Washington come out with a haul. I mean, they got a lot of their good prospects. Scary thought, because Tatis is going to be back here soon, within a week or two, in that lineup. Tatis, whatever, however you say that. He's going to be back here soon in the lineup, then 2 weeks probably. And Manny Machado over there, and throw Soto in that lineup. They're making a push. It's going to be a dangerous lineup for sure. If everybody, barring health, obviously. They got a haul. I wonder, if they had set and waited, what they could have got. I know the Rangers were kind of in the mix. Padres, and there was one other team that was seriously in the mix. They were just asking a whole lot. So.
But deserved, though, right? I mean, this cat's already looking like he's going to be a surefire Hall of Famer, one of the best players ever, potentially. And in my opinion, I don't give a shit about a haul in prospects. Like, that's my problem. Is like prospects, you don't know what's going to happen with that. Yeah. Right? So I would have definitely wanted them to get some other pieces, like right now, like very good players, whatever. But I just feel like the Padres killed it in this.
It had to be contingent on you're going to sign a long-term deal too, as well, because you're not shipping that out for 2 years of control, So
that, to me, I think that's the Padres. Like, they're not afraid. Like, we'll give you the long-term deal. They've already signed Machado, Tatis.
Well, he was given a long-term deal. He just didn't sign it. So
right,
that's why I'm saying.
Right, but what I'm saying is that they're probably they're a few dollars off between Nationals and them. And also seeing how the Nationals are going. I'm just saying, San Diego, he sees the young core, Like, especially in Tatis, and he's going to be there for they have him booked for what was that, 8 years, 10 years, whatever it was?
Something like that. Cronenworth, he's a solid second baseman, young guy too. So they got some pieces over there.
I'm with you on the they didn't get enough. Like, prospects are great. I was telling Danny a little bit of a story, and the little bit of a story is I was sitting there watching these Twins grab like some of the best prospects, and I was sitting there waiting for them to like spur, and like we had at one point about 6 years ago or so, we had in the top 50 prospects in Major League Baseball, we had 5 or 6 of them on our team. It was us, Blue Jays, and I can't remember what the other one is off the top of my head. Maybe it wasn't Cubs, but it was someone else like that. Regardless, Tampa Bay. But we had the most in the top 50. Those cats have been paying attention to over the years, right? Waiting. One of them just finally came up, and that's Nick Gordon. Nick Gordon was one of those. That's what you're going to wait for a dude that is proven right now, is young, and you still have two controlling years on him too. Yeah, you didn't bring enough back. Yeah. Prospects aren't enough, and I understand you try to bring Hosmer with it. I get that. Padres made out like bandits. I really do believe that. I don't think that was... Prospects are just like draft picks. If a young player to me is proven and I have to pay him versus rolling the dice against this, my job is to make a team and to make a young core and to build it up. Juan Soto's, 23 years old? Isn't that the definition of what you want?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think they got – I actually think they got highway robbery the other way. You get a million prospects all over the place. So, good for the Padres. They got him young, and I think they will be able to sign him. I mean, you have enough young pieces around there showing you they have a core and you want to be a part of this. And, you know, I don't know how many of them are from the same country or anything like that, know their languages and shit. But I'm sure they all grew up together some kind through the farm system. So,
yeah.
Another bigger one. Or this one came across today. NFL is appealing the ruling of the Deshaun Watson 6-game suspension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Looks like they're looking for a year, at least, year suspension, which definitely makes sense. But so a little bit ago, before we hopped on, you were talking about what the back and forth and what it's going to take.
Yeah.
Talk through that for a second.
So what a lot of people, the general fan, may not realize, what's going to end up happening, I'm going to lay this down for you, is they went and appealed this. They're going to try to get it up to how many ever games? I would assume 10 to the full season, somewhere in there. You're not appealing this just for 2 more games, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You're doing it for at least 10 plus, double digits or more.
Yep.
Right? The next step in this, regardless, let's say they win, it doesn't matter, the NFLPA will sue. That is every process. This is every step of this process. They sue. The courts will hold it. It's going to get pushed off. Deshaun Watson is going to end up playing this season. I'm not saying he's not going to get suspended. He's not going to eat games. 10 season, doesn't matter. I'm talking about this season, he's going to play. And he may play the whole season because they'll be able to push it off that long.
Wonder if it ends up like Zeke, right? Zeke played like 6 weeks before he finally got 6 games.
Yeah. And then they kind of perfectly plays, kind of like not perfectly plays. You don't want any suspension. He shouldn't have got suspended, but
yeah.
What I mean is there's going to be a lawsuit. I can't remember who the other ones was off the top of my head. I know Zeke's kind of had something, but there was another one where it literally got pushed to the end of the year. And then they kind of let it go as in the player or whatever because I think the team didn't make the playoffs. Can't remember who it is off the top of my head. It'll come to me, but my point is this is the process in which we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by the NFL doing that, of course, we all know that Deshaun and the NFLPA weren't going to. Like, oh, hell yeah, 6 games. We'll take that. Right? The next step is that.
Well, they said before that even come out, they were not.
Right, because it looks bad. It looks bad regardless. You're just trying to get past it at this point, right? But the NFLPA is completely different when it comes to this. Like, they're going to go with the argument that there already was a judgment, there already was a ruling, and then you're trying to press further as a league, overstep your power, and then it goes into court. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You're going to have that phase. Yeah. So that's where your part is right here.
Yeah. So it's interesting because like a month, 2 months ago, whatever, when we were talking about this, I said, I have a sneaky feeling that the NFL is going to figure out a way to suspend him next year and not this year when he's only making $680,000. And I think through exactly what you just said, I think that's how the NFL is going to be able to suspend him when he's actually supposed to be making bank instead of this, kind of loophole that Cleveland was trying to do for him. I mean, the NFL is not going to try to rush this at all. If they sue, oh, yeah, okay, we'll just and then next year he gets suspended when he's supposed to be getting paid, and they could say fuck you to the Cleveland Browns, right, for trying to do that.
Yeah, or even playoffs. When the playoffs come and then the suspension all of a sudden, all that stuff comes through, right?
Yep.
They're trying to hurt the Browns because of what they did,
Yeah.
So we're not shocked at the end of the day, right? We knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And the NFL had to, right?
Had to.
They had to. There's too much negative stuff out there about what's going on, so they had to. Bro, 6 games ain't enough. Like, we kind of got to throw our hat in there on this one.
Yeah.
Like, we even gave this to you, like an individual arbitrator, a female, and you couldn't crank up this number for us.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people upset because the way that arbiter said non-violent was sexual misconduct or whatever. Like, how can that be non-violent in all this stuff? Let's just be real. It wasn't violent, right?
Right.
And it seems like the women that had the opportunity and wanted to leave did leave, right? They didn't have to stay there. Some of them came back. So I agree completely with the way she said that, but I've seen and heard so many different people blow up about that. Wow, how can you call it nonviolent? Because it wasn't violent, right? It was sexual. Am I crazy?
No,
yeah,
you're not crazy. It was sexual and it was disgusting, but
forcing himself on people.
Right.
Like you said, some left and didn't come back. Some left did come back. Some stayed. But yeah, I mean, you can't do that.
Right. I'm not saying you can, you can or can't do it.
No, but violent is the word.
Right.
Yeah,
I get that.
You don't think that's violent,
it's not
though, right?
No.
It's non-violent. It's disgusting.
Yeah, definitely
You have a weird ass fetish, like.
Yeah, just a weird deal. Like, what?
So another keep with the NFL. NFL strips the Dolphins of their 2023 first-round pick, fined Stephen Ross, which is the team's owner, $1.5 million for tampering with Tom Brady and Sean Payton. The NFL, however, found no evidence that the team intentionally lost games during the 2019 season.
But they did say that the owner had said he didn't want to win any more games. But that wasn't supposed to be taken as direction to lose the rest of the games. So, come on. Like, what the fuck?
It's a gray area.
We know all about it at our place of employment. There's a lot of tribal knowledge.
It's like when you're in front of your girl and you're like, man, I really love blowjobs.
But I don't expect you to do it.
Right, yeah. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying.
While you're pulling your pants down?
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
For
Saw it
sure.
on a pornography once.
Did you have up what? So they got fined, right?
Yep.
And they lost picks. I think next year the first round draft pick they lost,
pick,
right?
2023. Yep. I do believe you knew this part. Evidently, they've been tampering Tom Brady since like 2017 when he was with the Patriots. This conversation didn't just start when he was with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, that was a surprise to me.
Like, I don't know how you go into that. I don't know how you really find out about it unless there's voice recordings and stuff. I don't understand, but how do you not get? You get all of that. You have plenty of information on that, but you can't get. We're trying to tank anywhere. I don't know. Gray area.
Yeah.
Irv Smith Jr. undergoes thumb surgery, but the Vikings are optimistic he'll be available week 1.
What happened to Dalvin? He hurt his hand too.
They say he left practice for that.
Two of them did.
Yeah.
Was that Irv too?
It was Irv.
Okay, Irv and him both.
Irv ended up having surgery. Dalvin got banged up towards the end of practice. I haven't seen what his was yet. Hopefully it was just a baby bump.
Hopefully. There's way too many injuries already, man.
They're already.
Yeah. And they're just going to keep flying. They're going to keep flying up. I mean, our news for the next, till the regular season starts, basically, will be another breaking news. So, we'll get back to baseball, though. Phillies get Noah Syndergaard, Brandon Marsh from the Angels, and David Robertson from the Cubs. What are the Phillies doing?
Yeah, I don't know, man. They Angels, when they made that splash this offseason, going after guys, it seemed like they were really making a push, but then they kind of fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. They can't win out in L.A. for whatever reason. Philly, right now, they're 10 games back in their division.
Feel like they still have that shot, though. Maybe that extra wild card? Is that why you kind of make a move like that? So they're in the third spot in the East.
Yeah, basically, Atlanta's 6.5 games ahead. San Diego's 3. Yeah.
You're trying to fight with the Padres, right, at that point? And the Padres just made
a big time
a big time
move.
Deal like that?
Yeah, that's going to improve them now.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Oh. I don't know. At least, you know what? I'll give them this, right? If you're a Phillies fan, this is what I'd love to. That's what I love about my team is if it feels like they're at least trying. They're trying to win right now, even if it doesn't seem like that. They're not throwing them the towel. Like, hey, we're going to grab this ace here. I'm not going to get into it too much, but I told him earlier I was impressed with the Twins trade deadline. Actually, they went after 3 decent to legit pitchers.
Yeah,
one in each one, closer, setup, and
I
starter.
did see that. The Rangers, they did. Josh Daniels did actually pretty well. Traded basically Matt Bush for the 16th ranked prospect, bullpen guy. Yeah, I don't know what they were doing. Rangers are they spend a lot, so we're kind of seeing some of that. We just don't have that pitching yet. We got a bunch of young guys sitting in there in that AA and AAA level. I'm glad they didn't trade away Martin Perez. I was actually kind of surprised that didn't happen. But they're kind of loyal guys, too, I mean, when it comes to that aspect as well. So glad they did hold on to him. Hopefully he still pans out next year. He's just balling out this year. So I'm curious to see what was on the table offered for him. Everybody's trying to get starting pitching these days. I mean, the Yankees did some impressive stuff to add to their rotation. I mean, they got 6 potential starters sitting there, so they're going to be dangerous come postseason. But
the AL is more lumped together. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the East is chucked. The bottom team is the Red Sox at 53 and 53. Even the Orioles are 54 and 51, right? But even the Central wasn't horrible, with the third team being 53 and 51. You're battling with the juggernaut of the Astros, the Mariners, who went and made some trades too, right? Like, they're kind of competing. They actually are competing too. Oh man, maybe the Rangers can make a run for it because everyone's kind of lumped together. They're all like in the 50s.
Out, I don't know I don't think we have enough. We don't have the pitching for it. John Gray just hurt his back again, so I don't think it happens, not this year, but we're showing the flashes. I think we need those back rotational guys to. And right now they're sitting in that high AA and that AAA right now, so
they just need to lose on the 19th. That's all that matters.
What do you mean?
Rangers.
Oh, on the 19th?
Yeah,
they'll probably beat them.
Stop it. Whiskey bet on the company's dollar.
Oh, we haven't done that in a while. Yeah, let's bring that shit back.
We haven't done one.
Yep.
Whiskey wager.
Twinkies
over the Rangers.
Yeah, you know what was messed up last time? A couple years ago, we seen the Rangers play the Twins. They beat them. They took 2 of 3, but the one game they lost was the one I went to.
Oh, shit.
Damn straight. You touched a little bit on it already. Padres, Eric Hosmer was dealt to the Boston Red Sox after rejecting the Nationals trade. Kind of has no trade clause and wouldn't lift it for. And then after that, knowing that the team doesn't really want you or that you were a tradable asset, then they went ahead and shipped you somewhere else instead. Didn't exactly go to a horrible team. This is breaking news today. UConn Huskies women's basketball star Paige Buchers will miss the 2022-23 season after tearing her ACL.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
Tough
break again.
Yeah, and what'd she get last year?
Wasn't that ACL too?
I thought it was too, because she was out for a long time.
Well, she didn't miss the whole season though. She came back.
So maybe she tore the one before, perhaps.
I thought it was.
It might not have been ACL because it wasn't. You're right. It was only like
was
a few
it
months.
was
I
it
feel
the
like
one
she
with
was
your
out.
heel or whatever? What's that one? She had some. I feel like she had something else.
Yeah.
But either way,
she just
still-
come back from injury last year.
Yeah,
right?
still bad break though.
Like your Achilles or something. I don't know what she. I don't
Could
know.
have been. This will tickle my man over here's pickle. Former Viking linebacker Anthony Barr has agreed to a 1-year, $2 million deal, but could be worth up to $3 million with incentives with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I like it. Rumors of them talking to him, for a while now, and just not close on money. So I was surprised when I come across like that. I was like, that's what they're fucking haggling over,
Right.
a couple million. So, potential to be good. We got some young, decent guys there, but just a couple, and then we got some guys that are injured right now or coming back from injury. So we needed some more depth. So I was glad to see him go get one. Now go get a wide receiver for fuck's sake.
No, sure.
They have. Well, I think I read an article. They said they're willing to give their young receivers a shot, but doesn't mean they're not gonna go for someone. Secondly, and most importantly, you, barring injuries and only injuries, you guys got to steal because Anthony Barr does nothing but make plays. It doesn't show up in his stats. You can pull up all the stats you want in the book, but I'm telling you, what he does on a field is he covers shit that you don't pay attention to, that you're not going to make a certain throw because he's too athletic to be in that open space. He'll also tackle Aaron Rodgers and break his collarbone and help you win a division because he misses the whole season.
Boom.
So,
Yeah,
barring
you just gotta stay
health,
healthy. Yeah,
is
you just gotta stay
has
healthy.
been the issue here recently. So, good signing for you guys. He didn't really need a linebacker, I don't think, but it's not bad.
Oh, we needed one.
I thought you were okay at linebacker. You needed
No,
backside.
linebacker, and we signed basically everybody again from last year, and so we definitely need linebacker help. And then that Damon Clark, there's another one. They're both coming off injuries. The one tore his ACL, so we needed.
Aren't these all guys that he says that like all the Cowboys are supposed to know? You remember how he makes fun of us and naming
I'm not
no
saying
names?
they're. I'm not. No, you say they're studs. You're. These are different.
I said they will
No,
be studs.
you say
I
they're
said they will
stud.
be
He's stud.
studs.
He's just stud, making plays.
Was that wrong? We can go back to tape. I'm not going to argue. They go back to KJ Osborne and see if I was right or wrong. And he was a stud. And he's going to be a stud this year, too.
I mean, he was okay. I wouldn't say stud,
He
but
was a rookie.
I was gonna say he's overshadowed though by.
Did he get
Justin and Old Boy.
I'd have to look at the stats, but he was just fine. He'll be even better. Conor McGregor to make film debut in remake of Roadhouse.
Yeah, don't care. Want to see him fight?
Have you ever seen Roadhouse?
Yes.
It made me want to be a bouncer when I was a kid.
Telling
That is the
you.
coolest looking job in the world.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. Such an underrated movie. Patrick Swayze
Yeah,
was the
Patrick
man.
Swayze.
Yep.
And
The
then
guy.
that's where what I like to call
Roadhouse.
Yeah, and then what? Silver Fox? He wasn't quite as silver back then. He was the old man legend that would come in and he's also in The Ranch? God,
Yeah.
what's his name?
Damn
it.
I know all the ladies get a.
Oh yeah,
run
a
over him.
lady boner over The Voice.
Yeah. Sam
Ooh, Elliott.
Elliott. Yeah.
Sam Elliott. That's what. So not interested at all in that.
Want to see him fight? He's a fighter. I get it. He's trying to make. He's making money. Whatever. People are doing that thing, but let's get you
wanna
back
see-
in the ring.
You want to see him box?
I'll see him box. I just want to see him compete again. Like, come on, man. Show us that you still got it.
Yeah, he's getting further and further away.
Further and further away, and then it's going to be even harder to come back. Because I say if he takes one more loss, it's almost irrelevant.
Totally agree. Yeah.
It's been so
maybe
long.
that's the reason why he's not really rushing to get back. 'Cause he knows it too. He hasn't won in the UFC in how many years?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Sorry, won against Donald Cerrone and then how many years total in that one win and how many years?
Nothing relevant.
No.
Yeah.
So, despite winning the SEC and playing for the national title last season, It was a rebuilding year, according to Nick Saban in Alabama. That's a rebuild?
Man.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want some of that. I want some of that. If that's what a rebuild looks like, I want some of that action.
Right.
I'm curious kind of what he meant by it, but because it was was he a redshirt sophomore quarterback? That's what makes it a rebuild.
Probably just young guys across the board. I think they talked about the young receivers, how many they had, So when their 2 went down, right, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were really, really young out there.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what he's
They
referring
had
to.
they had true freshmen out there after those 2 cats went down. I don't know if their defense outside of that linebacker was really big namers that you're used to seeing.
Right.
So maybe, but rebuild is probably the wrong word. Is what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah, you have 5 stars red shirting waiting for their shot. So is it really?
Yeah, it's not a rebuild. A rebuild is you had to have touched near or at the bottom, right? Like the year before. You can't.
Right.
Yep.
You can't play in the national title and say rebuild.
Correct.
Okay. Just didn't know if we were all on the same page with that one. I'm like, hold on, that's not a rebuild. It's a rebuild is also you had to tear it down to.
Yeah,
build it back
exactly.
up.
Like a remodel, maybe, because everything's still there. You're just making it look prettier. Maybe
There you
there's
go.
that.
There you go.
But rebuild is nuts.
Absolutely. And that's what I have, gentlemen.
You guys know I'm a big Cardinals fan. I love the Arizona Cardinals, right? Hollywood Brown was arrested. I don't know if I've ever seen criminal speeding.
I seen that too. I didn't know if we want to touch it.
It didn't say a speed. It didn't say. It didn't give much.
26.
Hey,
Okay, did it finally come out? Okay.
Yeah.
Nah, the criminal speeding is.
Yeah, he was going
because
126 mile an hour, baby.
He's lethal with his feet, baby.
I know. I was like, that's as fast as he runs too, because this motherfucker's quick. But yeah, 126
That's what I figured.
mile an hour.
Because the thing I seen right before I must went to sleep this morning was just criminals. I was like,
Unless you're an adrenaline junkie, why in the fuck are we going that fast? I'm not saying when you're not behind. I think the fastest I've ever went where I needed to get somewhere, like I went from Mason to work here, Garner, and I woke up at 25 till, 20 till, maybe 20 till. Walked in the door right at the time, and I was on. So I was cruising every bit of 90 to 100. Shouldn't have been doing that. That's stupid.
well, you bleed blue. You bleed blue, so
Right,
Makes
but
sense.
but back then it was more of a punishment when you're like late and stuff. It was like you actually get shit docked, like, and I mean like personal time and stuff like that. But then you also still get in trouble. Regardless, my point is, what is the point of going 127 to 130? And not on a closed track either. You know what I'm saying? Like you're on.
Yeah, he's on an interstate, in Arizona. I don't know, man.
How fast was Henry Ruggs going when he killed that chick? Or allegedly?
Somewhere, yeah. It might have been a little higher.
Might have been a little higher
or something.
130 some odd miles an hour. What are you getting out of that? Just adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
Cha-ching.
So just more dysfunction in Arizona. So.
Not riding a bicycle. I was just kind of looking at whatever law there. North Carolina had that real good one, but they didn't have like a bunch. In Fargo, North Dakota, a person may be jailed for wearing a hat while dancing, or even for wearing a hat to a function where dancing is taking place.
Fargo?
Fargo, North Dakota.
That's fucking weird.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Isn't it like a bunch of hicks up there? Like, so they're not rocking cowboy hats at the
it's
fucking
super
line
country,
dance and
right?
stuff?
It's weird. It's kind of oil country up there too, right? They do
Yeah.
a lot of drilling in that.
Well, not since we had this administration come in.
Touche. Yeah, used to be. Used to be.
When fuel was a lot cheaper. Yeah. And we're going to roll into what? We decided on...
Yeah, we're going to talk NFC offseason, or NFL offseason moves. We're going to look at the AFC, what do we talk about? East and South is what we're going to look at today. So let's go through. And then pretty soon, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into our predictions about the season and talk fantasy.
Yeah.
We're chomping at the bit.
Especially that fantasy, right?
God, injuries are just fucking it up already, though, man.
Where we rolling first? Which team we going with?
We go with the Buffalo Bills, I suppose.
We'll go with the top dog.
Yeah.
Well, first off, do you really see them not winning the division before we start getting into their key offseason stuff?
Right, they're going to win this division.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have some trouble along the way because teams got better, but they're going to win this thing. Miami's not there yet, So, yeah, they're definitely winning this thing.
You got your list up?
Big time signing, obviously, Von Miller. Adds to that pass rush. They're obviously going to need it. And other than that, it doesn't seem like they did too much. Tim Settle, Daquan Jones, the defensive line. So some pieces on the defensive line. Roger Saffold to the O-line. But obviously Von Miller, the price of that draft or of that free agent signing. Then they...
I got it under the radar, though, that joined.
Who's that?
Jamison Crowder.
Yes.
In the slot, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Sneaky always. Fantasy-wise, he's always...
And he'd like to use your old cat. What was his name? Blonde hair. Short.
Cole Beasley.
There you go.
Yeah, but not enough.
Well, like the more years that went by, like he kind of wore out his welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, I just mean he kind of likes that type of.
Maybe I felt like you started using Croft, right?
Yeah, Tyler Croft.
Croft, yeah.
Yep.
Felt like he started using the tight end more instead of Cole Beasley. So
what's the other tight end? His
No,
main dude.
it's
not Croft.
No, it's.
I was just thinking about Dawson.
Yeah.
Dawson
Dawson.
Knox.
Yeah,
Dawson Knox.
Yep.
yeah, Dawson.
So he started filling that in too. I just mean that might be. I'm not saying it's a sexy one or anything like that, but Jameson is a very well-rounded veteran slot wide receiver that could help. So, but yeah, you're 1,000% correct. Von Miller and is definitely the big piece there if he has anything left in the tank.
Yeah, and then they had a nice draft. They got a corner, Kyer Elam, to replace Levi Wallace. So he slipped a little bit because, his best play was probably a year earlier. But I think a solid piece. Then they got James Cook, kind of maybe bring in that receiving back skill set that they can maybe use to the offense. So, and then they got Khalil Shakir.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think they did well. They got a guy. They needed a corner. They went and got him. A guy that, kind of maybe slept on a little bit. He's going to be solid.
Yeah.
And then...
And Elam?
Yep.
Yeah,
Elam.
no, that's a damn good one. Florida?
I like that pick. Yep.
Yeah.
Pick from Florida. I like it. The running back is interesting because I feel like they have two decent ones. They don't use them the right way.
And they don't use the other one at all. Like, for whatever reason, he got in the doghouse, and they weren't using. Yeah, Zach Moss. Like, he has the body, shows a prototypical size, strength, everything, and they just kind of.
Yeah.
And old boy kind of turned it up a little bit, didn't he?
A little bit, yeah, for a while, and then
bit.
they still. I've seen some clips of training camp, and they're still running plays for Josh Allen to run the ball. It's like, what are you doing?
How much did they just pay that man? He's in the $46 million range.
Yeah.
Is that where he's at?
Yep.
Oh, we're still gonna run, no matter how big he is. I get it. We're still gonna run. Did they not take notes from the Steelers and watching Big Ben getting murdered and being picked up off the campus? That was a big man too. That still hurts. Key departures: Cole Beasley, Emmanuel Sanders, Jerry Hughes, but replaced by Von Miller in that aspect, and then edge Mario Addison. Nothing, like, I agree with you. Nothing really changed, right? Nothing. To me, if there's anything stick out there, I just mean that I think they're the same team, and I think they'll be just fine. Everything's in growth mode for them now.
Personnel-wise, I agree. We're going to find out about how important that offensive coordinator was, though.
There you go.
I think that's a big deal.
There you go. Absolutely.
I haven't seen, like, tape of what's going on yet at camp or anything, but I really think that they're going to run the ball a lot more this year than they did last year. I think they have to.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, if they really want to get to that point where they are a Super Bowl contender versus just a great regular season team, kind of like Phoenix Suns back in the day, right, in the NBA.
Yeah.
You have to have more balance than they have, and you have to be more consistent. You can't be bouncing, okay, this guy's not doing good, now we're going to go to this guy, oh, he's shit too, we'll go back.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to have more consistency there, and I think they will. If they don't, Miami's going to be a really sneaky team in that division. So
I did forget about Dabble. That one I did. But, yeah, we're going to find out real quick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should run the ball. I don't think they will. I think they're content. Kansas City has showed us that. You can win and get all the way there, throwing the ball all the time. I think that's the route they're going to go, even though I feel they should run the ball too more. But yeah, Miami, and that's going to be the next one we touch on.
Boom.
Miami's going to be really sneaky. Obviously, the big one, trading for Tyreek Hill, big-time move. Now they have Hill and Jalen Waddle in the offense. Another one, Cedric Wilson. So they traded away Devonte Parker, got Cedric Wilson, who was really good for the Cowboys last year. And then, obviously, the franchise tag of Mike Gesicki. Offensively, all the talent, the skill is right there. Can they put it all together? They got a stable of backs. It'll be interesting to see who kind of comes out the lead there. Want to kind of almost stay away from that in fantasy. You don't really know who the hell is going to get that.
So
get the rock there.
So yeah, I agree with you on that 1,000%. Like, I don't know if I want any dabble of that, because what's going to happen? I'm going to take one of them and I'm going to pick wrong. I'm going to pick wrong between those three, right?
Yep.
I was actually surprised they let Duke Johnson go, because didn't he have like a little bit of a breakout last year with him?
Yeah, towards the end of the year, he was the
at least
guy.
Fantasy relevant,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, he was the guy.
But they didn't really lose anybody that definitely wasn't replaceable, right? Duke Johnson probably was that. And then they lost Devonte Parker, but when he's missing, all but 3 games a season,
What? Where'd their coach come from? Was it San Francisco? Where'd he come from?
Yes. Yep.
So stable of backs might make sense then if they're gonna run a similar style, right?
Which one, if you had to bank your fantasy lineup on Rio as your RB2, of those would you take right now, though? Let's say everyone else jumped on every other running back and you had to take one.
Maybe Chase Edmonds. If you're wanting Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert's there. They have Sony Michel. They have who's that?
Sony too.
Yeah.
Who's that one guy that kind of did okay for you last year?
The
Laird.
Stop it.
Laird, right?
No.
No.
Don't do it, you son of a.
I can't even. His name's not even. I can't even think of his name right
Why
now.
can't you think of it?
'Cause he's a little
Because
guy.
he's a piece of shit.
He's a
That's
little
why
guy.
he should never be starting on a fantasy.
Yeah, isn't
lineup.
that Laird?
No.
He's one of
fucking-
those, but that wasn't the one he
That
was
wasn't the
playing.
one?
No. God, no. I
Yeah,
gotta
which
look
one?
up his
Which one
name.
were you playing?
I did not play him. He only had a couple. Of games.
Gaskin.
Yeah, Miles Gaskin.
Miles
Gaskin.
Gaskin.
Okay.
Yep.
Garbage.
Because the
That
season
one
before
too.
he was awesome,
Yeah.
but
Awesome
last
is a
year,
strong
fuck
word,
me.
but okay. But
Good for
still,
that, yeah.
I remember making fun of Danny. I'm like, you son of a... Stop it. He's like, what? He consistently gets that 8 to 10. Well, what? Like, fuck that shit. That is horseshit. Gaskin is dog shit.
What's
And he-
funny
but
is
he
he was
can't-
getting
but-
8 to 10, but he was getting 30-some touches a game.
He was.
So, like, it wasn't effective.
No, but you
but
were
8
still,
to 10.
but you were still getting about that. Maybe
Yeah.
even to 12. I should have not disrespected that much. It was like 8 to 12.
Yeah, middle of
8
the
and a
pack,
half
yeah.
point. I'm like, you son of... Like, this is garbage.
Yeah, it was.
But so, which one were you thinking? That was my question.
Maybe
to you.
Chase Edmonds. You know,
Is the one you're thinking?
he showed some flashes, but he got banged up. Raheem Mostert's not out of the realm. Also another guy that can tear it
Especially
up,
when
but gets banged up
but
too.
gets banged up.
It's really tough.
Okay, he's going Chase. Which one are you going on? You have to take one, or you should take one because you have no other running back.
Yeah, I'd lead towards Mostert, but Sony's interesting too because he showed he could do it last year when basically everybody else was hurt. Right?
For the Rams.
Yeah, for the Rams. I'm gonna lean towards Mostert, but fucking it's a toss up really because Chase could blow up too.
See, the Mostert one is probably the one I would probably lean towards, not because of injury, because that's what would scare the shit out of me about
Right.
this one,
Mm-hmm.
but his knowledge with the Niners. And when he was out there, that was that offense that he was running, right?
Yeah.
But I would actually go with Sony Michel. I'm just saying the Mostert is the most intriguing. I'd go with Sony Michel just because, and I would hate myself for any one of them that I had to pick.
I don't know. It's scary just because how quickly they took the job away from him, even though he was healthy and he did play well.
Yep.
You know, it
Since-
seemed like.
Since we're on them right now, I did have an intriguing question because I was talking to a Chiefs fan, of course, and I was rubbing it in about Tyreek. So they're like, oh, they're talking about the Dolphins. I'm like, well, he's with a superior quarterback. Just ask him. That's what he said himself.
Yep.
But your expectation for him, for Tyreek, yards, touchdowns.
I think he's going to be just fine, honestly.
You think he's going to produce about the same?
Yeah,
or better?
I'm not going to put a numbers, but I think I think Gesicki is a fine weapon. I think they're going to have an actual wide receiver on the other side. You can't just constantly double him. I think he's just going to be fine.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's what my conversation with him was. I was like, the more I think about this, Tyreek has never seen what he's about to see.
I think he's about to see more one-on-ones.
He's about to see more one-on-ones. And the most he's going to get is possibly a safety over the top. At most, instead of 3 guys on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or 3. I'm not saying 3 directly on him, but, they do like waves. They'd have him like someone middle, whatever. The whole works. I think this is the most wide open he's going to get, especially when you have to respect Jalen Waddle, right?
Yeah.
You have to.
So I don't know what the stats necessarily would be. I just mean the only person that can really fuck this up is Tua.
Right. Yeah, he's got to not be
exactly it.
But he's not going to
have the
though,
stars
right?
in his eyes and basically look him down every time. He's got to show. I don't have just one weapon I'm throwing to Jalen Waddle all the time. Is it? So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's all on Tua.
Besides the running backs, you want some of this offense, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, either one of those two. I mean, Gesicki would be a good tight end.
I actually want the running back too. I just want to know which running back it's going to be, because I think they're going to run the similar type of system where they'll be able to do that zone run scheme, which works great if you can have that bell. If you can have that bell cow, if you can have that dude that even if he's not technically a bell cow, you can get about 22. I'm not talking about carries, but 22 carries, catches, combo, the whole works, and you could guarantee that you would be ecstatic in this offense,
right?
For your fantasy team.
Moving on, New England Patriots. They drafted Cole Strange. Felt like it was a reach a little bit there. I don't know. They must have seen something there. Tyquan Thornton in the draft. Re-signed James White. They got Mac Wilson in a trade. Malcolm Butler for free agency. Of course, they just traded, or did he get signed away? J.C. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So they needed to bring in somebody. Devin McCourtney re-signed. Ty Montgomery, which
traded, right? Actually, the more I thought about it, J.C. Jackson was traded.
Was he? Okay,
Yeah, 'cause he's young too.
So, Trent Brown got re-signed. They brought in Devonte Parker, Jabril Peppers, and Little Jordan Humphrey. Key losses: Shaq Mason is a big one. Chase Winovich, DN, J.C. Jackson. Oh no, he was actually a free agent. Lost in free agency.
Oh, he was. J.C. was okay.
Kyle Van Noy. So some Deontay Hightower, apparently the free agency. So yeah, some key losses there. Definitely
Offensive line,
bleeding.
Big
I
time.
said big time there. Some D pieces that they lost. They lost their offensive coordinator. I feel like we're gonna find out how good a coach Bill Belichick really is without that really good offensive coordinator standing there behind him.
So that was going to be my next one right there with that to combo in is that I have no idea what we're doing at the coordinator position either. So we're not going to tell anybody. And we're not, and I don't like the coordinator term is what he liked to say.
Yeah.
Offense, defense coordinator. We don't need that. Young quarterback that showed a lot of promise. Liked him at Alabama. Didn't like him as much with the Patriots because you two were dick riding him. With all due respect. But this is not how you make it let him grow. Like, you lost offensive line pieces. That's not good. You got Devonte Parker, who I just touched on before, who misses every game but like 3 games a season. That isn't going to help.
But he goes off for like 100 yards.
He does. Yeah. So it was like, so it'll intrigue you. It's like that when we play golf. Have a really bad day, but there's always going to be one shot that brings you back.
Yeah.
Same thing with Devonte. On especially the fantasy side. See what he can do? I'm going to make sure I draft him next year. Got him. I don't think they're doing him, and they must have been asleep at the draft. I think this is the worst draft I've ever seen them do.
Their draft is always weird. That's consistent. You can count on that every fucking year, dude.
Absolutely weird, yes, but this one was bad.
It was bad. They
this
reached
not good.
They used picks on what they have a quarterback. They picked a quarterback. They have running backs. They picked a running back. Like, what the hell are you doing?
And then you way like reached on like the other players that would have made some sense, like and then grabbed too late on the ones that you did need, like Tyquan Thornton. Could have been a different receiver in this draft. You know what I'm saying? Up earlier.
Yeah, because they needed a receiver, right?
I don't know if he's trying to challenge himself. It wasn't a challenge enough, bringing in a rookie quarterback and showing that you could do it without Tom Brady. I don't know what he – maybe he's like, watch what I can do. I'm going to do this with people that you don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not great. Definitely.
Well,
Definitely going to be. I don't think pushing for a playoff spot, pushing in that top 2 at all. Not great.
Yeah,
Disappointed for Bill Belichick kind of offseason. I feel like.
Yeah, there wasn't. There was so much movement with receivers and things like that. You know what I mean? And the Patriots didn't do anything, and that's what they need the most. You know,
have to.
The defense should be okay, just because that is Bill's thing, and that's what they do. But man, I don't know. I'm disappointed too. But you know, we didn't expect them to do shit last year, and they made a tear, and you know, could have been even better.
Mhm.
But I guess we'll see, man.
I don't know how they didn't take a stab at one of those receivers. Who was that last receiver we were talking about that was still on the market that they still could even went and at least flirted with? I can't remember who the hell. We talked about it off the air once. There's somebody that was like way late in the process.
That the North Dakota State one that went.
No, I'm not talking about drafts. I'm talking about like free agency or whatever. It kind of sat there for a little while. Can't remember who it was. And did they get in on any part of your cat that the Cowboys gave away for free?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
Yeah,
what isn't that like a weapon that you could help
Yeah, absolutely.
build your quarterback up?
Yeah, and he's not a diva. He would have actually been a really good fit there. I feel like,
Amari?
you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, big body, good route runner for
Calling Antonio Brown.
100%.
That's still a possibility, I guess.
Call him up, man.
Call him up. You going Jets?
Yep. Moving on to the Jets. Key additions here. Ahmad Sauce Gardner in the draft. Garrett Wilson in the draft. Great pickups. Breece Hall in the draft. Awesome pickup.
Yes.
Jermaine Johnson. I think they're one of the winners of the draft for myself. Aced it.
They nutted that draft.
Aced the draft 100%.
Right. Everything they needed, right?
Everything. They touched on everything they needed.
And then they were talking about, like, and this is just that Jermaine Johnson was, like, on everybody's radar, and they were able to steal him.
Stole him, got the best running back in the draft. They're going to make a case for the best wide receiver in the draft.
And the best corner in the draft.
They got the best corner in the draft. You know, they grab a couple tight ends, CJ Uzama, Tyler Conklin. They grab Braxton Berrios. Key losses, they do lose Jameson Crowder, which they've got a bunch of young receivers there, plus Garrett Wilson. They'll be just fine. Marcus May, that's a big one on the back end. That's going to sting for sure. They did bring in Jordan Whitehead to try to replace that. So Marcus May, probably a little bit better, but they hammered this offseason 100%. Look for a jump, possibly even finish third in the division over the Patriots.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Hey, hold on. Let's not give that away yet because we're gonna do that at the end. But I'm big what you're saying.
I like everything that they did.
They did everything right, and you know who can mess us up?
The quarterback.
The Jets.
The Jets.
Well, yeah, the Jets in general. But
I'll just say the Jets.
I think they have all the players on offense now. Zach Wilson needs to show that he's not just out there winging it around.
Hey, thank you for rolling into that for me. So there are reports coming out from people that have been at camp and watching that Joe Flacco is way miles ahead of Zach Wilson. Man. That came on, I do believe, my Bleacher Report.
Yeah.
Came across. So that's not a good sign when you nutted everything else, right? It looks like you're going in the right direction and you're hoping that your quarterback, who is supposed to be your franchise quarterback, is supposed to take that next step. And actually, they don't even want you to take the next step. Because of the season you had, they want you to take at least 2 steps forward, because it was a very inconsistent year last year.
I can still see him rolling with him. You're going to have a lot of young guys out there,
Yeah.
so growing pains are going to be there, and they're probably going to
like when I'm saying that, I don't think they're going to start Flacco over him. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you have Flacco, who's like 97 years old and hasn't been relevant in like 10 years, beating you, that's I don't think they won't roll Flacco.
Not a good look. But
No, it's not a good look. It's more than anything. That being said, there's only the Jets that can mess up this type of draft, and they didn't. They actually went the exact opposite. They nutted almost every pick. They hit everything. It's almost like whoever's been doing the bad picks for so long was out of the room. Like every time this happened, because they nutted every single one. I like Tyler Conklin. You may not remember him, obviously, but we're Vikings fans, and he's a very good, serviceable second tight end. He's that guy that'll catch stuff that you're not thinking about. He'll catch that. He'll get you a first down here and there. He'll block. He'll lay it out. It's sad to see him go. So, but that's a sneaky one. C.J. Uzama. So they've got, and then they already had wide receivers on the outside for him. You had a Breece Hall, who was, we all agree, was the clear-cut number 1 running back in that draft. You added that to the your cat. So you have 2 running backs there. That you have depth too. What's his name? You were big on him, Jets.
Michael.
Oh, Carter.
Carter, yeah.
Michael Carter.
Yep.
So they have it looks like they have one hell of a foundation. That's the way I could put it. They have a pretty damn good foundation. So only the Jets can mess this up. Jets or Giants could mess this up.
Yeah,
yes, correct.
Every position they needed, they got, right? They like you so eloquently put, they nutted it, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still the Jets. And so until I actually see something different, I don't have a lot of faith. In theory, if it was any other team, I'd probably be like, fuck yeah, awesome. Like they're going to be, way better than they were last year. But it's the Jets. I can't give them any faith.
If this were the Vikings and those were the needs that they needed, I would be so ecstatic. And I'm sure you would be if it was the Cowboys. If those were the needs that you needed, you went to the draft and you got that, you'd be like, God damn. But it is the Jets. So we'll say
it
that.
is the Jets. I like the Jermaine Johnson pick because he slid and it is steal for sure, 100%.
Yes.
I would like to see them pick up one of those stud linebackers, though. I feel like because they have a couple guys there on the D-line that are studs. Kind of need a linebacker spot. I'd like to see them take one of those studs, but Jermaine Johnson that's an awesome. That was my only.
That was a steal because that was almost like you had to because he was there, right?
100%. Yeah.
Because they should have looked at, and I'm with you, they should have probably went with like a N'Kobe Dean, like the for sure round guy, underdog, but still would have been everywhere you needed him to be, right?
They got just some average linebackers there, so I felt like they needed a linebacker. Maybe that was the only thing they didn't touch, but
can't get it all perfect, right?
That's right. I mean, still, otherwise, you had to take him, and it was a great pick. Yep. So as it finishes, I see it going Bills, Dolphins. I think they're going to be pushing into that wild card spot. Okay. It's going to be tough with that AFC West, man. Depends on how bad they beat each other up.
Yeah.
I could see 3 teams getting in from over there, but they're going to push for a wild card spot. And then this is where I think the Jets take that leap and they finish 3rd, and we're going to see the Patriot Bill Belichick crown come crashing to the ground. I think Josh McDaniels did a hell of a lot more than what people think.
Yeah. I'm with you. Actually, I have I could do the. Okay, I was about to say I have the exact same order. I have what it should be and where I could actually see it ended up being. They're 2 different things in this division. Still, Bills number 1. There's no doubt. They would need Josh Allen to go down. That's the only way that they don't win this division.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
They could lose all kinds of other pieces. They'd still win this division, I believe. I mean, the continuity there. Number 2 is I want to say Miami so bad, and I'm going to say it and stick with it, but I feel like they can mess it up too. They've had some expectations in the past when they, whatever it was, 5 years ago, whenever, it looked like they should kind of make that little leap there, and they never did. They just didn't do it. Looks like they should. But I'm with you. I think the Patriots done screwed up. They did nothing to back their quarterback. They did nothing there's nothing on that team that scares you in any way, shape, or form. That defense you're going to be banking on that you've also let some pieces go. And you let a young piece go on that defense in J.C. Jackson also. God, the only respect I have for him is literally their coach. If anyone could pull off whatever the hell is going on there, that'd be him, right? But I actually have them finishing last. And I have the Jets making that little jump there. I don't know what I'm not saying I don't know if the bottom would fall out on the Patriots. Like, I'm not going to predict wins yet. We'll have a different episode for all that. But I have the Jets going 3.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to like details, we're going to have to figure out what the schedules are like too, because that could change some things. But Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets is the way it's going to end up. I think the Patriots are not going to be great. And the Jets still they've got a lot of talent, but I think they're another year from really making a big jump. And that quarterback situation makes me a little bit worrisome too. The one thing that I'm hesitant on though, besides all that, is Miami with Tua. I think they could potentially really push Buffalo in this division. Like the talent,
If
the new
everything
coaching
hits right.
staff. Yeah, and that defense is really good. They could push Buffalo, but it really depends on Tua. If he needs to take a step, right? He needs to take a step up and really improve. Obviously, I'm not a lefty guy.
I was
so
going to say, he may be
but-
a two-step guy. He's got to make two. Like, like we said, his expectations are right here, just like what I was just saying. He may be, you need to make two steps. You're not even one step. You need to make two. We're here right now. I got you the shit, right?
Yeah.
I got you the pieces. Make it work.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, I'm with that.
So we're actually pretty damn close. I mean, it's probably going to come. It'll be interesting when we go through that game by game thing that we did last year and see how this really breaks out. I bet you it's gonna be close for those bottom two, but at least we're all on the same page though. For the most part.
Yeah. Moving on to the AFC South. We'll hit off with the Tennessee Titans. Key additions: Treylon Burks in the draft, Deshaun Hand, free agent, Austin Hooper, free agent, Roger McCreary in the draft, AJ Moore, safety, free agent, DeMarcus Walker, Malik Willis in the draft, and Robert Woods via trade. Picking up the Treylon Burks and Robert Woods, I think that's really good. You trade away A.J. Brown, right? Obviously, a stud, one of the better wide receivers in the NFL, but you tried to help yourself a little bit. Robert Woods, he'll be a fine piece. Treylon Burks, we'll have to see. He was having some trouble with conditioning and whatnot. Austin Hooper, he'll be a fine piece as well. They had some big pieces they lost, though. A.J. Brown, obviously, in the trade. Jayon Brown, inside linebacker. Darrington Evans, a running back. Rashawn Evans, inside linebacker. Donta Foreman, Anthony Ferkser. Julio Jones released. Of course, he only plays a handful of games. But Roger Saffield.
Guard.
Yep. So David Quessenberry, another right tackle. So some losses there in the linebacker room, on the line as well. I think that Jayon Brown and Rashawn Evans is going to hit hard for them in that front seven.
I'm with you. I actually think I'm going to throw one out there, bold prediction, and this is without our game by game. This team will be the one that falls by far the hardest this season from last year.
Yeah.
I don't think they did anything to help themselves for the most part versus what they lost. Like nowhere near. I like Robert Woods. Yeah. Fine piece.
I think they tried, but you can't replace it.
But you can't replace that, and you definitely can't replace it with. For the most part, you usually can't do it with a rookie. And Treylon may be nice, but I don't think that's near that yet, right? There was a little bit of issue with old boy. I haven't been fully sold on their quarterback. Brain farting right now. Starting quarterback.
What? Tannehill?
Tannehill. There you go. Never really been sold on him. He did make a resurgence in his career, but there's a little controversy about he wasn't going to help Malik Willis and stuff like that. And anything that they did have, I don't know. Derrick Henry, I hate to bet against the dude, King Henry, but I'm just telling you, this isn't going to be the same Titans team we've seen for like probably the last 3 years or so.
No.
And the rest of the division caught up. Or got better. Not caught up, but definitely got better.
Yeah, definitely got better.
And injury bug finally caught Derrick Henry last year. I wonder if we're going to start seeing that decline. It always seems to happen when running backs, they take an injury a big time. And there it comes.
And we have chatted about this, about those miles. Like, when is the miles going to hit? Well, last year he got one. Is that it? Or do you have another year in you of being able to ball out for almost 400 carries?
Well, dude, so since 2019, he's had 1,021 carries. Since 2019.
Yeah.
That is insane. So he played 8 games last year. 219 carries in those 8 games, dude. That would have, so basically on pace to 465 carries.
Yeah.
So they did not put themselves in a position to make life easier for Derrick Henry at all.
No.
There's just going to be even more
in the box.
In the box, ready, because you don't have any threats, really. Not, at least not, that you have to worry about all game, right? They're making life harder for him, and they're going to have to be more reliant on him. They're going to take a big step back this year. I totally agree, man.
And I feel for him more than anything. It's like, dude, do you guys remember last year where it took until like week 13 almost before we could actually name another NFL MVP. Yeah. That's how much that dude balled for the first 8 games.
Yep.
Right?
100%, dude, yeah.
And that was with, the receivers, with Brown. Julio wasn't really out there. I don't even want to even say that, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
They've had the tight ends. I mean, they added Austin Hooper, but blah, blah, whatever.
Yeah, I just don't think, on top of all that, you don't have a quarterback that's going to be able to make that shit up either.
Yeah,
right?
you don't have a
Tannehill's
dude,
fine, but he's not.
But he's
that
not.
guy.
He's not the guy that's going to turn somebody into something, right?
Yep.
Usually, I mean, I'm not saying he didn't help with AJ Brown a little bit, but AJ Brown is a special talent that came out of Ole Miss,
100%.
right? Yeah. So, you go on your next one. I think they'll take the hardest fall.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're all kind of agreed there. Moving on, the Colts. One of the big winners of, as in free agent winners, not necessarily draft. Matt Ryan, upgrade in a trade, obviously. Yannick Ngakoue in a trade, big-time upgrade for them. Stephon Gilmore, cornerback, upgrade for them for sure. Matt Pryor got re-signed. Molly Cox re-signed. They got Alec Pierce in the draft, Nick Cross in the draft. Key losses, Carson Wentz. They upgraded there with getting Matt Ryan.
Yeah, so
they did lose Eric Fisher.
Subtraction by loss or plus whatever addition.
They did lose Eric Fisher, Mark Glowinski. So they didn't do much on the offensive line. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Jack Doyle retired. Rocky Sin got traded. They lost Zach Pascal, Xavier Rhodes as well. But I think they nailed free agency here and only made themselves better. They're going to push for that one spot in the division. I like everything they did.
For the little bit of draft that they had, because they gave a lot of draft picks out, I think they actually hit perfect on their draft, too. Pretty damn close. Alec Pierce is going to be undervalued. We watched some of his stuff like when he was with Cincinnati. And the dude is fast, he's tall, and he has hands.
So it's going to be, and I think he's going to get a shot, because that's, besides a couple mysteries on that O-line, who's going to be
besides Pittman, who's
going to be the other guy in that wide receiver room?
Yeah. And see, that's, well, they're re-signing Molly Cox and tight ends, but whatever, regardless. But yes, I'm with you on that. So he's going to get his opportunity to shine, right?
Yeah.
And Stephon Gilmore, whatever. But and then the other addition, they did help. This could be another addition by subtraction also. So Eric Fisher has a lot of faults at O-line. There's a reason why Kansas City didn't bring him back, and he was like their number 1 pick at one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got one hell of a damn good offensive tackle. Young, we'll see what happens. Bernard Raymond, I do believe he was the Central Miss. He was one of those 3 or 4 that were bundled together, and it depended on which draft expert you wanted to talk to, would flip them around, right?
Right.
I don't know. It came out early like that, and then he went away after that.
He did, but that can happen with that like Central Miss type of style versus an Alabama. That can disappear, but I like them actually going for it. Is he going to be any worse than Eric Fisher? Is my point. Eric Fisher wasn't special. He has the name because he was the number 1 pick at one point. I think they nutted it. I'm with you. And every single you got rid of Carson, you brought in Matt Ryan. Huge upgrade. Yannick Ngakoue coming from the edge. He's a sack artist. He really is. He played how many games with the Vikings? He led the Vikings in sacks for the year, or ended up in second. But it took all year for someone to pass him, and he had 5.5 sacks with us in that short stint. So the one thing the dude knows how to do is that. So I like what the Colts did. They're one of the 3 teams that we said that improved versus what the Titans didn't do.
Yeah, big time improvement. Matt Ryan's going to be a huge deal. That team had so much potential last year to really make a run. The defense is solid. They've got an amazing run game, right,
yes.
Rio, with your guy there.
Mm-hmm. Don't forget about Neiman Hines, too. He can come in and still
100%.
catch the ball, and he's a fast speedster as well. So, even when old boys, like Jonathan Taylor's – he did too much. But even when, Jonathan Taylor's not on the field, you're still going to be dangerous out of the backfield.
100%. And they've got a lot of young receivers, but they brought in Reggie Wayne, which is from what I've heard, it's going really well with like him coaching them up and things like that. So that's huge. Just to touch on a fantasy thing that I just pulled up. So during Ryan's 14 years in Atlanta, he had 16 instances of wide receivers scoring 200-plus fantasy points. 16 instances. So fantasy impact, you're definitely going to want to look at the receivers for Indy. Matt Ryan likes to pick his guys. So
you guys go out for everyone else. You stay off my guy. Pittman, baby.
You do like
you know I like me some Pittman. But yeah, no, I think that fantasy impact, that is a beautiful pick right there. I think he showed a little bit last year, even with Carson Wentz kind of laying a turd. Wait till Matty Ice gets out there and he has no problem targeting you heavily.
Yeah. Moving on, Houston Texans. You know, I think they were such a bad team that anything they did only made them better. They lost Justin Reed in free agency, Jake Martin, Tyrod Taylor, A.J. Moore. But additions, Derek Stingley Jr., and cornerback in the draft, could have been pushing for that top spot in the draft.
Yeah.
Some issues with health. Kenyon Green in the draft. Jalen Petrie in the draft. John Mechie III in the draft.
That's a big one, right? Petrie?
Yeah, Petrie.
Was that the Baylor one I'm thinking of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, Mechie won't play this year due to being drafted or getting diagnosed with leukemia. So prayers up to him. Hopefully, he makes a good recovery. They brought in Kyle Allen, Cedric Ogba, offensive tackle, Malik Collins, D tackle, AJ Cann, a guard, Stephon Nelson, cornerback, Mario Addison, the end, Jalen Reeves-Maben, a linebacker, Raheem Green, Andy Janovich. Like I said, I think they did really good in the draft. I like all their picks there. Obviously, won't get production from John Mechie, but they brought in stuff, tried to fill holes as best they could. I think they actually did a good job in the offseason with their additions. I was curious about the quarterback. They are 100% committed to seeing
give him the neck, the job, or a stab.
Yep, to seeing if the neck is the guy.
Yeah.
And, best case scenario, he pans out. Worst case, they're going after Bryce Young next year.
Yeah.
I think they did well.
I'm with you.
For a team with a bunch of no names, they won 5 games last year.
Yeah.
And they won some games that you didn't expect them to win. I don't know. Davis Mills was fine. I thought he actually did a pretty good job for what they had and for being a rookie, right?
Yep.
Everybody's going to be young. Most of this team is going to be pretty young. So it's probably really a couple years before you really see the fruits of that. But they're definitely going to be better than last year,
So the only thing that you didn't touch on, which I'm surprised you didn't at least a little bit, maybe it's because we talked about it earlier, is they finally get to shed the Deshaun Watson talk to the extent of, the team part. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think they finally got a draft right. I'm with you. Derek Stingley Jr., I'm a Sauce Gardner guy, okay? But if you weren't going to go for Sauce, you definitely – Derek Stingley was clear-cut to me. I think he took a bad rap because of a little injury thing, and then the LSU kind of, fell apart as a team, as in, you know what I mean? There were some issues going on with their head coach there. Jalen Petrie was probably
I don't think it was even a little injury thing. I think he only played 1 full year.
Yeah. He had an injury, then he had a down year also. I mean, he had a ball out year.
Yeah.
The 2021 was, or the 2020 was the COVID. And I think he sit out willingly after a few games or something like that. And then the injury, and then the team was kind of just weird is what I was getting at. Jalen Petrie is a steal for him, safety for Baylor, making some plays. I hope John Mechie comes back because they got that in a steal right there where they got him.
Yeah.
And so I hope he comes back strong and healthier than before. So I think they did. I'm with you. I think they laid a decent foundation. Let's see where it goes from there. And like you said, they're not out anything for using the neck. Best case and best case scenario both are if he balls out, you found out you may have your future quarterback. The other best case, there is no bad case. The other best case scenario in this is that he doesn't, and he ends up getting you your true future franchise quarterback because they suck that bad, and he threw you out of the games too. So he gets you a Bryce Young or Ohio State's. Names are leaving me tonight, but you know what I'm talking about.
I think it's the humidity. I'm telling you, man, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm a bigger fan of Davis Mills, dude. How many quarterbacks could have came in and done what he did with that shitty team? Like, especially rookie quarterbacks. He did a lot, and there was a lot of big. There was a couple weeks where I want to say he was like number one in fantasy for quarterbacks, just chucking the ball, getting yards and everything like that.
Well, he had no run game, so
that's
had
fair.
to throw. I guess that's only. I like Davis Mills. I think he did great. I'll also say to bring up, they had no run game. He had to throw the ball.
Yeah, so so defenses know you have to throw the ball, and he's still able to do it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there's that too.
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I'm a fan, and I think they did a pretty good job. They're going to be better.
So in yours, it'd be for him. It'd be really good if he showed that he was damn good to them. Not win too many games. Like you hope like your defense, your coaching, or something throws you off for your special teams, because you also want some extra. You want some help. You want some help coming in. Like even if you don't go, obviously you don't want to lose your job as a quarterback, but you want to bring in a receiver. You want to bring in something like that to support, right?
Yeah.
I guess we've talked about coaches a couple different times. So the other thing that could hold him back is Lovie Smith is not.
He's not a risk taker.
Yeah, he's not a risk taker. He's not the greatest for really bringing guys up and playing above their potential.
No. So he's always taken over teams that had a veteran-led unit. His defenses have been damn good throughout his history in the NFL.
Right.
But he's always taken over a veteran squad or been a part of a veteran squad that already was together, and he just turned them into better what they were.
Right. And this was kind of when all that was going on with Brian Flores, so we hope it was the right guy, not just a guy hired based on his color of his skin.
Yep.
But my estimate
could be trouble there. Maybe.
But my estimate is he got hired, unfortunately, for himself. He got hired as a scapegoat because they wanted Josh McCown, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Because
of all the stuff that was going on, and they didn't take on Brian Flores either. So.
Yeah.
Where you got?
Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. One thing to touch on, they were handing out money this year. They were offloading it, overpaying a little bit. Key additions and a lot. Christian. now that I see the first name, they overpaid a lot. Christian Kirk, wide receiver, massive contract, getting paid like he's a top 5 receiver. He's not, but they paid him. They did. I like their draft. Trayvon Walker in the draft, Devin Lloyd in the draft. Good draft. Brandon Scherf, they brought in a great guard. A little bit of overpay, but it's still, I mean, you got a guy who you think's your quarterback of the future. You're going to protect him.
You got arguably the best guard in football. So is there such thing as overpaying when you're the best at your position?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I
just mean if he's the best.
I don't think he is. I don't think he's the best. I think Quentin Nelson's better than him, but
right. But I'm just saying.
But
yeah,
he's
pause real quick.
Yep. Foy Yesaid Alokun, linebacker. I don't know how to say his name, but they paid him as well, bringing him in. Evan Ingram, a nice piece if he can stay healthy. Obviously touched on Devin Lloyd in the draft. In the D-line, Foley, Fatukasi, Darius Williams, cornerback, Zay Jones, wide receiver. I love the Trayvon Walker, Devin Lloyd. I think they kind of surprised some people with that Trayvon Walker pick as well. But, they lost Miles Jack, so trying to replace him. Obviously, Brandon Linder retired.
With one hell of a versatile piece. I mean,
Yeah.
I was shocked, and then I was like, what the hell are you doing? But Trayvon played, like, everywhere on the defensive end, the stand-up linebacker, played some defensive tackle, so very versatile.
Lost DJ Chark. They brought in Christian Kirk, trying to replace that. DJ Chark, a little, injury-prone. But Andrew Norwell, guard, he's lost him to free agency. AJ Cann, free agency. So, I mean, they just went out, and I think they spent the money that they have. They have tons of cap space. They had to go out and try to improve this team drastically, and they went and spent trying to do that. Some good pieces out of the draft on the defense. They get Etienne, right?
They get Etienne
back along with James Robinson. So I think their running back room is just fine. I'm a little susceptible to their wide receiver group. Not a Christian Kirk guy. I think he's a great 3. I don't think he's a great 1.
Agreed.
And they paid him like he is.
I like their wide receiver group. I agree with your assessment, though. They paid Christian Kirk like a number one. He's going to be a quote-unquote number one. He's not a number one. I don't even know, like you said, I don't even know if I'd like him as my number two necessarily, you know? Because what was Valdez-Scantling? You know, fast, speedster, kind of outside edge. I wouldn't like him as my number two. You know, I'd like him as my number three, and the dude that would just break the top open here and there, you know?
Right.
That's kind of what Christian Kirk is. But I like the rest of the receivers. Laviska Shenault, kind of like every type of guy. He'll take a snap from the backfield too. Marvin Jones, we know what he can do and what he has done. Zay Jones is a sneaky pickup. So what a lot of people don't realize is that he, like, especially if you watch any of the Raiders games down the stretch, when they were down and out, Zay Jones may go 3 4/5 of a game without a single catch. And then he's going to have 3 or 4 on the final drive. He's like that guy that just gets – I'm not saying he's going to be fantasy relevant. I'm not telling you to go draft him. What I'm saying is he's going to make a little bit more noise for him, help Trevor Lawrence out. And Travis Etienne is huge. That's going to be huge. That helps your receiving game also. Can't combo that up with James Robinson. This is all going to completely depend on the growth of Trevor Lawrence. Nobody can say that they didn't try. They didn't try to get. They went out and spent. We disagree with him being a number one, but you still went out there and grabbed a pretty damn good receiver.
Yeah.
To try to help you get ETN back, like we touched on. Evan Ingram misses like 75% of the games. Don't really care there. They shored up their offensive line, which is a big deal to try to give him the protection and time to do so, and to move. Defense was intriguing to me. In a few spots, we talked about the Trayvon Walker. I like it. I didn't at first. It grew on me more. It made more sense. Josh Allen has done nothing but grow. Jack Griffin's there. I mean, they have some pieces. They're still gonna see. They still have that Calabon. Yeah, Calabon Chasen. What was that? Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kind of a freak out.
Yeah.
I thought it was Kentucky. But kind of like a freak athlete. You know, we'll see what kind of happens there too. So they have some pieces. It'll be intriguing. I think they got better.
Yep.
And that's what you're supposed to do. The foundation. We've been talking a lot about foundations. I think they're doing it, and they're doing a decent job of continuing to build on theirs.
Yeah, they hit everything they needed, right? They needed to improve the defense. They needed better receivers. Christian Kirk, we could talk about that all day. But it improved from last year either way, right? I think the running back situation is critical here. If those two are healthy, this team could be on the verge maybe making the playoffs this year. Last year, they didn't win a ton of games, but the games they won were really important games, right? Mm-hmm. Buffalo Bills, Miami, they cost Miami Dolphins a playoff spot. I think they beat the Colts, so that impacted their playoff, So they beat good teams when they did win. Obviously, they had a shitty coaching situation and everything there, so that's gone. You don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
They're going to be a lot better. They're going to make this division interesting. And it does depend a lot on Sunshine and how he kind of develops and improves. But he was good last year. It's not like he was bad. He was good for what was going on there. And if he can improve and take that second year, kind of what we expect from these guys, especially guys like him, they're gonna be a pretty good team, man. I like what they did.
Okay, follow that up. Where do you think the finish is?
Man, Indy's gonna be number one, right? I think they have a shot to be one of the better teams in the AFC, in my opinion, this year. I'm actually going to lean towards Jacksonville, finishes in number 2, then Tennessee, then Houston is where I'm going.
Okay.
I got Indy. I think we're going to be
some nuts out right there. Okay.
I think we're all going to be same page at number 1. Indianapolis is going to be number 1. And I think Tennessee is going to finish 2, and I think Jacksonville 3. But I do agree that Jacksonville may push Tennessee. I'm going to lean with some of that experience on that defensive side, the experience under center, to maybe give that edge by a game or so. Okay. But they're not going to it's not going to be them 2 and then the bottom 2. I think Jacksonville will. They spent the money to get guys. I think they can absolutely push Tennessee for that number 2 spot. And then obviously Jacksonville 3, Houston is going to be just last. There's
too much.
There's just too much going on, and you can't keep up with the Colts. I don't think they can keep up with Tennessee. Jacksonville's improved a whole bunch. I just think Houston's going to be is still behind a little bit.
Yeah.
Houston in one draft in an off season is not going to come back from biggest draft needs. Everything. That's what the line was. That isn't going to get. So there's still plenty more to go with Texans. We still have a few more years, at least a couple more years, right? So I'm going to start. So Houston's my clear-cut bottom. Indy's my clear-cut top. And like we said, we're going to make this very clear. This is all barring health, of course. You almost had me sold on Jacksonville because I really think Tennessee, that defense was okay. It wasn't sexy, though. It wasn't. What I mean by that is that they weren't intimidating. So it isn't like you're going to Tennessee like, oh, shit.
Right.
I'm going to, as of right now, I am going to go that too. I'm going to go Indy, Jacksonville, Tennessee, and Texans. But I do believe the Jacksonville and Tennessee, I'm with you, it's going to be within that game range.
Yeah, close.
Maybe against each other will be the difference of that.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, if those two running backs can stay healthy, that might be one of the best running back combinations in the entire league, right?
You want
with Robinson and
Etienne.
Etienne, yeah.
I agree with you. Which one do you value more? Fantasy. Little touch on fantasy. Which one do you want on your team right now?
I would probably take Etienne, but mostly because torn Achilles. I don't know how I feel about that from Robinson. That's going to be tough and I don't even know what the timetable is yet for him to actually be back. But I imagine it'll be kind of a slow ramp up for him, if I were to guess.
Let's say all was equal, health wise. I'm just curious. Didn't you go Robinson? Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Rio?
ETN, I think we're going to see the chemistry that they had at
right out of the gate.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I would go ETN too because I think the receiving is going to take it that much more. He can run the rock. Obviously, I'm not saying he's like 25 carry back or anything, but that stuff out of the backfield when stuff starts breaking down a little bit, and when the one trick pony Christian Kirk can't get open, there's that dump off for you. So I'm with ETN on that one.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Do you think out of this division, the second place team could potentially get a wild card?
No.
Have you seen the West?
That's how bad I feel about. That's how bad I feel about the Titans falling off. I think Jacksonville still. I think when we're talking about that Jacksonville, Tennessee, I think what we are talking is the 9-8, 8-9.
Yeah.
Or at most 7-10, like something like that's what I'm talking about, and that's not going to be playoff enough in this league and the other two in the other divisions. That isn't going to be enough.
Yeah, the reason for my question is, and this makes me, I'm actually thinking Miami would be a good option to say they're going to make the playoffs because, so we know the Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos, they're all really good teams, right? All of them. But they're going to beat the shit out of each other during the year. And same thing with the AFC North, right? They've got really good teams, minus Pittsburgh, not so much maybe this year. But they're going to beat each other up throughout the whole year. And that's going to hurt. Whether they're a better team or not, that's going to hurt the record. Whereas this division and the AFC East are not as top to bottom strong. So I think even though they're not as good of a team, their record's going to be better potentially than some of those teams.
I'm with you 1,000%. I just don't think it's coming out of the South, though. I'm with you. I think that's the reason why Miami, because let's put it like that. Is Miami better than the Titans and then Jacksonville or whatever you want to say in that division, no matter which way we put it? So Miami will get that spot over them regardless. So, so I don't think a second one comes out of the South.
Yeah.
So I think a second one could come out of the East.
Yeah, I lean that way too. I do think Miami has a good shot though.
I do.
If things
the AFC West beating up on each other.
Yeah, I could see it. I mean, I could see 3 teams there, and I could see, 2-2. Dolphins getting in and one of those teams not making it.
And we need to know what happens with Deshaun, because that could be a completely different game changer. Yeah, they have a hell of a team all around it, but it still goes with the quarterback. Those two, though, I think we agree that 2 will probably go in the AFC North. Then you have 2 will come out of the West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All this Deshaun talk, we forgot about Saints running back.
Alvin Kamara's got pushed up.
I was going to say it got pushed back a little bit. Back.
No,
Him-
back. So it's
him
probably
and
Pushed back?
There was
I
somebody
thought
else's
they
too.
said it got fast tracked.
Pushed back a
No.
little bit.
Okay.
nothing's probably going to happen until next season. Sounds like for him.
Okay.
So as far as fantasy goes,
that far?
yeah.
Oh,
So as
okay.
far as fantasy goes, he's
I heard it was just like 3 months maybe.
yeah. So that's when everything will begin, though. So
okay.
then they got to go through the whole process and court whatever.
And then you can sit there and keep pushing it back.
Yep.
Depending on how the
Okay.
season's going.
Yeah.
Yeah. No
Because
doubt.
then you just be like,
True.
Yeah. so.
Yeah.
I think we should hit. You got Rio's randoms tonight?
We're running kind of long. Let's get this thing wrapped up. I guess stuff to do here before I go to work tonight. I do have a make sense.
Ooh.
I'm here for
Happened to me just like 2 days ago, a day ago, whatever. Finished football camp up, headed over to get the boys from daycare, right? And so coming back on that road from Ventura, right, the back road coming back to Garner, and we're still in Ventura, right? All the houses and the side streets there. Heading down, and it's me, a car in the middle, and then a car in front of us, white car. And it's only like 25 there, not going too fast. And the white car in front pulls into the side street, but not pulls to turn in. They pull and then like kind of loop, like they're going to turn around. So it's like, whatever. So that car passes them, and then the lady, just whips out in front of me, and I slam on my brakes, tire screeching, sliding, like I would have smoked her in the door if I hadn't been paying attention. And she was just sitting there, like, she like shrugged her shoulders. I'm like, hello?
What
Like,
are
you
you
didn't even
doing?
think to look out. She didn't look out her window at all. She
Jesus.
waited for the car to go by and then just started turning. And I didn't see her face till like I was slamming on my brakes about probably 5 feet away from her. By when I come to a stop, I'm like, and I would have smoked her right in the door too.
What the hell?
Like, what
man?
the heck? You got to pay attention.
You got to pay attention.
Got to
man.
pay attention. Yeah, it makes sense if you don't think about, like, at least look out your window.
Right.
She didn't even look, just went to turn.
Yeah. Jesus
Jeez,
Christ.
man.
It's just a shrug.
Yeah,
No
your
problems.
fault.
Let's talk about that street though, real quick. I get 25 by the park, but
Yeah.
after that,
Yeah.
25 doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
All the way, it's like a fucking half mile before it goes to 45 and then 55, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense out there.
That is
No.
true.
Residential though.
We gotta be careful.
Words of wisdom, make sure you're looking at your windows. Check all your windows and mirrors. That's what they're there for. Or you wouldn't want to get in an accident for
Don't just
something
assume.
stupid.
Don't
Something
just
so
assume-
stupid.
Yeah. Don't just assume someone.
Run somebody's day because you don't want to pay attention.
Right. With all due respect, look out your fucking window. Okay.
Yeah.
Watch for other cars.
Right.
Boom, boom.
Pretty common sense.
Jesus Christ. Well, it's about time to wrap her up, ladies and gentlemen. So if you happen to find us out there on the interwebs, make sure to like, subscribe, share, the whole thing. Give us a rating. It really helps to expand the reach. And the podcast is available where exactly, Jimmer?
Anywhere and everywhere you can find a podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, YouTube.
YouTube. And we love to tell a good story, even quick ones like Rio just ran through there. If you've got something good you want us to share, go ahead and slide in.
Slide into our DMs. Get us that story. We'll get it out to all the folks that want to hear it. We can omit names if we need to. Doesn't matter. If you're looking for a workout app, make sure to download Fitbod. Use our code 3GIG for 25% off. It'll generate workouts, show you how to do new lifts, keep tracks of everything. Also, we're starting a fantasy league, 3GIG Fantasy League. We're looking for 7 teams. So slide into our DMs again and hit us up, send us a message, whatever.
First 7.
Yep.
First seven, first come?
we'll let it go a little bit and we'll draw. If we get a lot of people, we'll just draw for the 7, let you know who you are. We'll pick a time and date to get live draft on, and go from there. And the highest finisher, that's not a 3Gigster, we'll get some 3Gig merchandise. So make sure you slide in, hit our DMs, whatever, send us a message to get in the league.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Absolutely. It's almost fantasy time, so definitely do that. Everybody loves a good fantasy league. But don't forget, we can't emphasize this enough. If you want to get jacked and tan like our guy over here, Rio, make sure you check out that Fitbod app. It's pretty cool. It tells you how many calories you burned, all those different things too. Even if you don't have a gym to go to, you can only do workouts at home. You can set your workout that way too. So be sure to do that. But we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This is 3 Gig Sports.
We out.
No hindsight discussions. I've been writing, I love it.